Welcome to Character Craft. I'm your host, Mitchell Drake. We're back with another randomly generated D&D character. I was really happy with the last one, so I'm excited to get another one going. 3 subclasses, that's great. We're going to kick it up a notch from the last time. As you can see, I've already updated the wheels. I like these a little bit better, but I'm still going to be playing around with it. Rogue is a good first option. That's pretty flexible. Rogues are always strong and they scale by themselves really well. I just have to worry about dexterity. Let's see, Sorcerer. Okay, so maybe like something with Swashbuckler. Swashbuckler gets some benefits from the charisma from the Sorcerer, although Sorcerers don't have a melee option. Druid. Okay, those are 3 very unfriendly mixing classes. Druid requires wisdom, and between the wisdom and the charisma spell casting abilities, we might be a little bit, struggling for ability score points. Off the top of my head, the Spore Druid is really the only melee option we might have. Sneak Attack does not work with anything from the Moon Druid or Wild Shapes. That's going to be rough. Maybe the Draconic Sorcerer, just to get like a decent AC, but we're going to be buffing Dexterity anyway. I'm going to have to look into this, so I will be back. I'll meet you at the Forge. Bye. Okay, we are at the Forge, and I've come up with a weird little character for y'all. They're an amazing infiltrator, sneaky, charming, haunting, and unintentionally can do a little bit of healing as well. They're also essentially a hibachi chef, so if you love food and want to incorporate that into your game, this is going to be a great opportunity for that. I chose to go for a Halfling, Aberrant Mind Sorcerer, Soulknife Rogue, and Land Druid Multiclass, and here's why. Let's start with Halfling. Halflings have subraces that give an additional feature, and we went with Lightfoot. Lightfoot Halflings are small, unassuming, and perfectly designed to disappear into a crowd. All Halflings get the Nimble feature, which lets you move through spaces occupied by creatures larger than you, and Lightfoots take this a step further by letting you take the hide action behind those creatures. Taking rogue expertise in stealth and deception will give you an ample opportunities to escape your crimes in even the most crowded of rooms. Halflings also get the Lucky feature, which will let you reroll 1s on attacks, saving throws, or ability checks, granting us a little bit of extra insurance. Let's hop into the classes. Rogues, Druids, and Sorcerers do not share any multi-class minimums in common, so we'll need at least a 13 in Dexterity, Wisdom, and Charisma. We're going to be focusing mostly on Dexterity and Charisma. Dexterity will increase our AC and melee damage since we'll be focusing on Rogue, and Charisma will help with our Persuasion, Deception, and Performance checks, as well as our Sorcerer spells. We aren't fully abandoning Wisdom, but it is on the low end of priorities. I'm mostly going to be taking support and utility spells from the Druid spell list, so we don't need a lot of points in it, but we'll make sure to round it out at 14 with the Chef feat, and I'll go further into detail about that later. I didn't have a strong idea what I wanted to do until I started looking closer through the subclasses. The Aberrant Mind Sorcerer really caught my eye, as their psionic sorcery is amazing for infiltration. We're taking this subclass to level 6 exclusively for this feature. Being able to remove verbal and somatic components to the free psionic spells that come with the subclass is amazing. Ignoring the damage spells for now, casting Detect Thoughts and Sending without anyone else in the room being aware of it is absolutely insane. You can probe the mind of a general, gain integral information on war plans, and then silently send the intel to anywhere on your current plane of existence without failure. Even if you somehow fail your stealth and deception checks when escaping, you can cast Calm Emotions on your pursuers and stop them without even saying a word or lifting a finger. Speaking of probing, I don't know what editor at Wizards of the Coast let this description of Hunger of Hadar go into production. How is every second line more violating than the last? You open a gateway to the dark between the stars, a region infested with unknown horrors. The void is filled with a cacophony of soft whispers and slurping noises. No light, magical or otherwise, can illuminate the area. Any creature that ends in the area must succeed on a dexterity saving throw or take 2d6 acid damage as milky, otherworldly tentacles rub against them. What the hell? I'm not experiencing cosmic horror with this description. I feel like I need to get checked for STDs. Despite that horrible description, Hunger of Hadar is a great spell to cast without verbal and somatic components. It can easily cause a lot of chaos. It is a decent sized spell, and the damage is pretty good when you use it correctly. My personal favorite option is Dissonant Whispers, though. It is a fantastic spell if you want to make a character in the room seem unhinged and insane as they flee in terror from a 3-foot-tall, 40-pound halfling without warning. Sometimes it's best not to assassinate a target and instead just discredit them. What self-respecting orc would follow a chieftain who cowers before someone so small? For meta magic options, I recommend Quicken Spell and Twin Spell. Having the option to cast the Mind Sliver cantrip as a bonus action before casting Dissonant Whispers or Detect Thoughts is awesome. The Aberrant Mind also gets Psychic Defenses for resistance to psychic damage and advantage on Charmed and Frightening saving throws. We also get Telepathic Speech for having psychic telepathic conversations, but I'll also go into further detail on that later. Now let's head over to the Rogue. We're going to be taking Rogue level 1 for the 4 skill options and expertise. Rogues are obviously the infiltration class, so most subclass options would work here, but I really like the synergy between the Soulknife and the Aberrant Mind. The Soulknife is also a psychically themed subclass, and I like them the most because they can conjure psychic blades when attacking that disappear once the attack is over. The blades work with your sneak attack, can be thrown up to 60 feet, and let you make an additional attack as a bonus action. Soul Knives also get psionic powers and energy dice, which, since we're bringing this class to level 10, will let us add a bonus to failed attack rolls, add a bonus to failed skill checks with things that we're already proficient in, teleport up to 80 feet, and give us even more telepathy with Psychic Whispers. Double telepathy features might sound redundant, but both are pretty unique. Telepathic speech will let you talk to a single creature up to 5 miles away for 6 minutes. If your charisma is maxed out and you have 6 levels in Aberrant Mind, great for sending quick messages over long distances to important characters. Psychic Whispers, on the other hand, keeps the whole party in the loop with you. You can choose a number of creatures up to your proficiency bonus and maintain communication with them for hours as long as they stay within a mile of you. These subclasses have a lot of synergy, and I think they'd be even stronger if it was just these 2 multi-classes, but we're gonna muddy it up a little bit with Druid. Druid was the hardest class to work into this, but I don't regret it because it really helped me highlight the quirks of the character's personality. Let's get the boring stuff out of the way. I chose to go Land Druid with the Coast spell list. We're taking the subclass to level 4, and that gives us the Misty Step and Mirror Image spells, both great spells for staying safe. There's the Natural Recovery ability, will give us a free 2nd level spell slot or 2 1st level spell slots back every short rest. Multiple telepathy options to use while we're in Wild Shape is also great. Nothing too game breaking at this point, but it is appreciated. Now let's get into the exciting part of why I chose Druid: tentacles and eggs. For some reason, there's an abnormal amount of spells on the Aberrant Mind's psionic spell list that require animal parts or byproducts. Hunger of Hadar requires a pickled octopus tentacle, and Rari's telepathic bond require 2 different kinds of eggshells. Some of you have already figured out where I'm going with this, but we're going to be getting those components from our wild shape animals. At level 4, a non-moon druid can transform into 18 different animals that lay eggs and can turn into an octopus for the tentacles. You might be thinking, but Mitch, wouldn't it hurt to remove a tentacle from your body while you're an octopus, and don't you still have to pickle it? Without a doubt, but that's why we also took the Chef Feat. The Chef Feat lets us give the party some extra healing during a short rest, and even some snacks for some temporary HP after the rest. You'll be able to heal back some health from removing your own tentacle, and I'd argue you'd be able to pickle it using the cooking utensils that come with the feat. Now, if you'd like, I'll give you a chance to pause. You can text your DM and figure out how much damage you lose from removing a tentacle. If you lose a limb for that, which I argue you wouldn't, because you'd be gaining limbs by turning into an octopus, and put their answer in the comments. I'd want to see if they're disgusted with you, if they're very confused, if they've maybe made some remarks about the entire process that I'm missing. I like to hear back from other DMs because they keep me in line. Let's get into a scenario with our character. Our halfling spy has infiltrated a high-profile event by offering herself as a cook and entertainer using her chef and performance skills. She has nothing to hide, willingly submitting to a weapons check, knowing that they'll only find her cooking utensils, and she draws a crowd with her skills, serving delicious food and communicating with her party outside the venue with psychic whispers. She'll need to create a distraction to sneak the rest of the party in, so she silently casts dissonant whispers on one of the guests to draw the attention of the guards. While the guest is being calmed down and our character is being questioned by the guards, the party can take the opportunity to enter. If deception fails, she can jump into a crowd and hide with her natural stealthy feature. If that doesn't work, she has access to 2 teleporting options with Misty Step and Psychic Teleportation, or maybe she wants to draw the guards' attention and away from herself with milky tentacles and slurping sounds by secretly casting Hunger of Hadar in a room full of people. All of this is just assuming that she didn't use Side-Bolstered Knack to succeed on the failed deception or stealth rolls to begin with. I'm going to name her Chef Jada Bonsoir. For a backstory, Jada is a highly skilled rogue who is exclusively trained to get into impossible places and complete impossible tasks. Those who spend a day with her describe her as a charming, talented, and passionate young woman who loves her craft. Those who spend a week with her are incredibly unsettled by her. They come to realize that her warm, inviting smile is ever present on her face. It is there when she serves your meal, it is there when she butchers her ingredients, it's there when she announces your every thought aloud, and it is there when you flee from her. As a DM, I wouldn't have any problem with this character at my table and would consider her a positive addition overall. Jada does a handful of things very well, and she shouldn't be too much of a problem as long as I'm diversifying my encounters. Yes, she'll take over every assassination mission, but she shouldn't be able to steamroll a fight against a purple worm or a dragon, anything along those lines. The most positive aspect is the massive amount of interplayer communication her features offer and the potential for expanding the scope of the story. As a DM, I'd use the opportunities given to me by her detect thoughts and sending spells to flesh out NPCs and offer details on events occurring massive distances away from the party. Players always talking with each other in a positive way is always great for the game. Gameplay-wise, this character is going to be a headache to manage for the player. You need to dedicate 10 levels between Sorcerer and Druid to use them effectively within the build, but you also want to raise your Rogue levels as high as possible for the highest sneak attack damage. This build also has a lot of extra resources to keep track of: sorcery points, psionic energy dice, and wild shape uses. This character has the potential to be a lot of fun for players who are willing to stay obsessively organized with their character sheets, just in the name of some shenanigans. I would recommend it more so for a higher level campaign or a one-shot, skipping all the level juggling and just jumping into being a fun little weirdo who makes the best omelets you've ever seen. I want to thank everyone for sticking around through the video. Let me know what you think of Chef Jada, and if you have any ideas for a Rogue, Sorcerer, Druid multi-class that you think is more fun than this, please let me know in the comments. Have a great day and sleep well.